Hi, everyone. It's Everything Energy with Tina and Jeremy. I'm Jeremy Bills.
And I'm Tina Falk.
How you doing, Tina?
I'm well.
Good.
I'm happy to be here. So we get to
Glad.
talk. We're
That's
either
good.
talking on the front step in the middle of the street or here.
Oh my gosh. So tell everyone the whole thing that happened this week
With the door.
with the door, the
Oh my
drama of the door.
yeah, I'm gonna post a picture of before and after. I should have posted all the in-betweens.
Oh, you should have. I was thinking that this morning when I
Mm.
woke up and I looked out the window and I saw your door. I thought, I wish you would have taken pictures of all of the different colors.
So we were trying to decide what it is about me. Am I just an overthinker? What is it? And I think it's the tiger in my chart that's very matter of fact. It's like I, I can't just be okay with it. I either love it or I hate it. And so, yeah, I started off with thinking, oh, I want some sort of a gold, earthy gold color to kind of go with the interior of the house. And the color I got was like really sunny and bright, and I didn't like it. So I immediately, the next day before I even painted, I took it back to Home Depot and I said, please darken this to kind of get more towards this. 3 times, she's shaking it up. Let's test this, shaking it. Finally, I'm like, okay, that'll be good. Bring it home. And that's when you and I first talked. I'm like, oh, this is nasty. I hate it. You're like, but it's okay.
It wasn't bad. And just for those of you out there, it wasn't bad.
It wasn't my
Actually,
vibe. And my biggest thing was it doesn't really speak to who we are.
yeah.
It looked too cheery.
Yeah. It's the color said, this is a warm, welcoming yellow, and it's a warm, welcoming house. Please knock on our door. And that is not the vibe that Tina gives
Yeah.
off.
We're a warm house, but we're not really welcoming,
No.
like the neighbor thing.
Uh-uh.
So yeah, I slept on it and I was like, this can't be it. So you and I had met, we had the color swatch book out, we're on our knees outside the front door trying to match to the flooring inside. I'm like, I want something earthy though. And we
Yeah.
found, you pointed out this really beautiful color. And
Yeah.
I thought, that's it. It matches the wood flooring a little bit. It pulls out
Mhm.
some of that tone. It would be a nice neutral to have on the front door. Because in feng shui, we want the front door to be obvious. We want it to stand out a little bit, and we do want it to be welcoming. Yes, I want it to be welcoming to chi and good things and health and all of that stuff, but not to, like, I don't want people to think that, like, oh, she's so cheery, and I meet them out on the street and I'm not. I'm not always laughing like I am in these calls.
Neither am I, unless we're laughing together. Otherwise, if people are knocking at my door, I'm thinking, am I like, who the fuck is that? And how
Yeah.
dare they come to my
Hmm.
door? Why?
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. So I'm like, you know what? I need to sleep on it. And I thought, okay, this is good. I'm just going to sleep on this brown kind of tan color. And I woke up the next morning and I was like, I can't do brown. That's too earthy. I had been complaining that the home itself is too earthy. There's a lot of
Mhm.
brown tones in the carpet or in the flooring and in the carpet. And it's like, that's too much earth for me. So
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I've always wanted to do green. I could do green here in the south. Plus, the door is kind of on the southeast part of the
Mhm.
house, which is your money corner, which is
Yeah.
yin wood energy, like grass. And so I thought I could do kind of a muted, soft green. And so I picked out a perfect color. It was called Clary Sage. Took my swatch book to Home Depot, and the kid mixed the paint. And I think he made a mistake or two. I think he put enough pigment in the quart that I was buying that he would put in a gallon. So it overflowed the little quart thing. He shook it up, came to open it up, grab a little finger thing to dab on top, put on the lid, hit it with a mallet and splattered paint on me, in the floor, and the countertop. And he's kind of, looking at me like, huh, did I do that? Oh, it's no big deal. And then Evan, I see my daughter come over and she's wiping paint off of my neck and everything.
Mhm.
And I said, can we try again? Because it was really intense. And we tried again, and
Mhm.
I'm walking out the store. This isn't a match. This isn't a match. Maybe when it dries, it'll look okay. I went home and painted it. It was a black door, then it was an orange yellow door. Now it's a mint green door. It looked like a buttermint, actually, to me. And it was dark. It was getting dark, and I called you over, and you like were standing out on the sidewalk, and we're like, "Oh, this looks really good. This is it. This is
Yeah.
awesome. I'm done." You got to sleep on
No.
it because the next morning, this
When
is
the sun
gross.
came out.
Yeah, when the sun came out, this is not the. This isn't Clary Sage.
Mm-mm.
So I took it back. I took the half empty can and my swatch book back to Home Depot, and the lady immediately said, "That's not even close. What was he thinking?" So she got me the right color. I got it up and I love it. End of story.
Amazing. Amazing. Here's why I relate to that story, because I do the same thing. I'll go and I'll buy some shelves from IKEA and I'll put tons of holes in the wall and anchor them in and be like, nope, it's not right. And then I'll take them down and mud
Oh,
up the holes in the wall and then I'll put them on the other wall and then I'll sit with it for a day. Oh, that's not it. So let's try the other wall. Every wall in my house has multiple holes and where I've mudded over. Yeah. So
you
I
get it.
totally get that.
Yeah.
And when this experience happened, Mercury was in the sign of Aries, and Aries is both me and Tina's sun sign, and it was retrograde. So
Mm-hmm.
this is a very good Mercury retrograde story because you have to go back and redo and redo and rethink. So
Mm-hmm. Recalculate all of that stuff.
yeah.
I'm done. It's done.
Okay, so does that count as your Aries rant?
Yes, that's my Aries rant.
That's your Aries rant. Okay. So my Aries rant, I was driving on the freeway today, and I'm a very conservative driver. I drive just at the speed limit or just below the speed limit. I like to sit in the middle lane and I'm just driving along. And I know the last episode we filmed, my Aries rant was about driving. Same today. And I
I
saw this
got
car going like this in and out of their lane, and I thought, oh, they're either drunk. No, 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 no. I drove up next to the drove up next to the guy, and he was watching a
Mm.
YouTube on his phone. He was watching a YouTube video on his phone. So of course I honked the horn.
Of
It
course.
scared the crap out of him, and he dropped his phone, and he was mad at me. And I said, "Get off your phone." We were we were going above 65 miles an hour, and I thought, "Oh, this kid's
Mm.
gonna kill someone." Then I kept driving. 5 minutes later, this car is swerving, and I'm like, they're watching YouTube. Pulled up next, and this girl was texting.
Oh,
She was
geez.
texting,
Come
and
on.
then after the text, she went like this. And she was taking pictures of herself. And I'm thinking, oh my God, these kids are gonna kill people
Mhm.
because they've got to watch their YouTube or they've got to pose and do a video and be like,
Mhm.
she was like, and I honked again, and I was like, "Get off your phone!"
You know what? It's not just kids. You know who I think's really
No,
dangerous with phones on the road? Is old people. They think they can sit on the phone
they can't.
and drive 30 miles an hour down the freeway in the second lane.
No, it isn't
Yeah,
just
phones
young
aren't
people.
yeah, my kids are I'm so grateful my kids they really got after me, when they were younger. Mom, put your phone away. Put your phone away. You shouldn't be on your phone. And they're to this day.
Oh, that's
They'll
good.
do, handless. What is it called? Where you don't have to hold it.
Yeah.
But oh, I agree. That's dangerous. Don't be on your phones, people. Please don't.
No, don't do it.
You
It's
wait.
so deadly. I had a dear friend years and years ago. She was out riding her horse near Parley's Canyon, and some girl was screaming down the freeway, and she started texting.
Mm.
She jumped the median, went on the wrong side of the road, jumped off the cliff, down the ravine, and hit my friend and sent the horse and her flying. She broke
Holy sh-
almost every bone in her body. She suffered major brain damage and then eventually died a couple of years later. It was
Oh,
So sad. And so
mm,
please don't text and
mhm.
drive. Don't watch your YouTube. Watch it when you get home.
Yeah.
There's no there's no threat of life or death to get that picture of yourself and texting it.
Mhm.
Nobody cares. Nobody
Yeah.
cares. People want you here. They want to
Mhm.
see you when you get to your destination. They don't care about a cute picture. So
Well,
don't
and I
do it.
want my loved ones to get to their
Yeah.
destination,
Yeah.
the who aren't on their phone. Oh my gosh, that's
I know.
frustrating.
That's
I'm
my
just really
Aries rant. That's my
yeah.
Aries rant for
Can't.
today. Yeah.
Okay. Glad we got those out of the way.
I
Although,
know.
you know what? I was thinking before all day before we came on, I was thinking I don't really have a rant, but I'm feeling really grateful today. Feeling really just as I look around our new home, it's still such a work in progress. But I think
Mhm.
about my family and I think about you and Toshi, your husband, and just the good people that show up in my lives and not even people that I know. Because
Mhm.
I was trying to think of like who are some of the people that I really like in podcast form, who
Mhm.
I think are just that's who I want to not emulate necessarily, but I'm striving for that ability to communicate and connect as
Mhm.
I'm kind of dealing with, and I know you are too, some of my nerves or
Mhm.
my doubts about even putting ourselves out here like this.
Yeah.
Um, and a couple of them that really stand out is I love Bo from the fifth. What is it? The Fifth Element? Is that what it is? He's kind of an it's kind of a political thing, but it's not a side. He's kind of a he starts every podcast. Well, he's got this really deep baritone voice, and he just kind of greets everybody with the same thing, you know, hey everybody out there, this is Bo, and then he goes into his kind of his thing. He's a journalist. That's how he started off. And then
Mhm.
Trevor Noah. Have you ever listened to his podcast?
No.
Oh my gosh. He's such a conversationalist. He can
He's
tell
really
he's
good.
done his homework. He's very empathic and he's trying to make deeper connections to
Yeah.
what people are saying. And that's just so inspiring because as a consultant, as a friend or a parent, I'm always trying to make deeper connections like
Mhm.
what like even with the phone stuff in the car, we could
Mhm.
go deeper in that and really
Yeah.
talk about what that means to other people, and you did a part
Yeah.
of that. So anyway, I'm just really grateful, and I'm really grateful if you're listening.
Yeah.
I'm really really grateful, and I
Yes.
hope you'll hang in here with us as we tweak and figure stuff out and
Yeah.
learn
We're
how
just
to do
learning as we
this.
go.
Yeah.
Learning as we go.
Hmm.
Well, today we're going to talk about rituals.
Yeah.
Ritual and ceremony, I guess, would be in the
Hmm.
same. And before we got on today, I was looking up the definition of ritual, and it says a ritual is a spiritual ceremony consisting of a series of actions performed according to a prescribed order. And there was a secondary definition as well. Any act done regularly, any act done regularly, usually without thinking about it. So
Hmm.
this is as simple as brushing our teeth every
Hmm.
when we wake up and then when we go to bed. This is, you know, when we have breakfast or when if we're making our coffee in the morning. I
Hmm.
think about all of the rituals that like one of my first experiences with rituals was my sweet grandma Beverly. She had toast with butter and jam every morning and a mug of postum. Do you know what postum is?
Yes, that's the Mormon coffee.
It's the Mormon coffee. And I could remember loving the smell of postum and thinking, why doesn't she just drink coffee? But then, of course, I was Mormon and she
Hmm.
didn't drink the caffeine. But man, I can remember that. And when I left the church and I started drinking coffee, that was one of my favorite rituals every day. I used to
Mm.
call it like it always felt like a warm hug from Jesus because I was like, oh, This is the best. The first sip of coffee every day. I don't drink coffee
Inter-
anymore because I have acid reflux, but I love that ritual because it's like, okay, you're getting your coffee made and you're putting it in the machine and you're smelling it as
Mhm.
it starts to brew. And I love the ritual of making coffee every day.
Oh, I love that. So what does Postum taste like?
Coffee, but
Okay.
an
So it's just
extremely
decaffeinated?
yeah, it's just an extremely decaffeinated kind of watered down coffee.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason to drink it. You might
Yeah.
as well just do decaf coffee.
Yeah. Oh, don't you love? I was just having a conversation the other day with a friend on Boxer about grandma memories.
Mhm.
They're just the best. And
Yeah.
what you're saying is, because I'm a grandma now, to a 9-month-old
Oh my,
precious little Sagey,
he's so
and
cute.
I want to create rituals with her
Mhm.
because I those I don't I don't necessarily have those kind of sweet ritual memories with my parents because that was
Mhm.
more like, get your butt in the car, or we have to get going, or I have to, my mom would be working and I would have to get me and my brother out the door in the morning and get us fed and up and stuff
Yeah.
um, for quite a few years. Um, but I want to create those with my granddaughter and my grandchildren. I want them to have those memories like I have of my grandmothers. I didn't know my
Yeah.
grandfathers, but I knew my grandmothers, and um, I love that you shared that. Thank you.
Yeah. I was just kind of thinking about it this morning and like after I read the definition, I was like, oh, well, originally we were like going to get into like, feng shui and, moon rituals and stuff like that. But, anything that you do on repeat without
Mhm.
even thinking about it can be a ritual as well. And
So
so,
let's talk about this then. What do you think then? Because to me, a lot of what you're talking about just sounds like a habit. It just sounds like
yeah.
something we habitually do. So is there a difference between habit and ritual?
Well, okay. So I was thinking about that also. And
Hmm.
it seems to me that when you're building a habit, because you can build negative habits really easily too. Like I scroll on TikTok for hours and hours a day, which is kind of a habit, right?
Not in the
But
car.
it's no, no. Can you imagine me on my phone
No.
while I'm trying to
You'll be
drive? Like
yelling at people yelling at you.
no, like there's I have a one-track mind. For those of you that know Western astrology, my Mercury is in the sign of Aries, and Aries is a one-track mind. Me and multitasking doesn't work. When I was a hairstylist years ago in hair school, it took me at least 6 months to learn how to cut hair and talk at the same time. I told my clients that I needed to have them shut up so that I could focus on their hair. So learning how to that's why, when I see people on their phone when they're driving, I'm like, no, I hate that. No, I can't do that. So, but yeah, so I
Rituals.
totally forgot. Oh, rituals. But what was I saying
Well,
before?
you were saying that you think that rituals are more positive,
Oh,
where
okay.
habits are kind of
So,
more negative.
well, no. So habits are, you can do a positive habit or a negative habit, like scrolling on TikTok, right? And or you can be intentional about creating a new positive habit, like every morning waking up and doing your morning meditation
Hmm.
or doing your morning pray rain journal and doing free writing, things like that. They become rituals. However, I think the more intention you put into it
Hmm.
and the more magic you put into it, that's what makes it a ritual.
Yeah.
That's just world according to
Hmm.
Jeremy. That's what I
Hmm.
think about it. And like I said, like I can remember when I was making my morning coffee, it was intentional. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna love the hell out of this coffee
Hmm.
every single morning." And I would wake up and jump out of bed and be like, "Oh, I get to have my coffee now," right? Whereas
Hmm.
if it was just a habit, I would be jumping out of bed, getting
Mm.
everything ready. I think that's more of a habit.
I
What
love
do you
that
think?
picture you just painted. I agree. I agree. If it's, yeah, I just absolutely agree. I'm not a big I suppose if I were to really sit and break it down and pay attention, I don't feel like I have a lot of rituals. To me, they're just like, they're habitual kind of, like, I don't think of brushing my teeth as a ritual. Um, I love, well, let's stay there. I do have a ritual in the morning, and it's important to me. And I create it as a ritual because I want to be in the present moment and not just like wake up, get dressed, do the things in the bathroom, and then step out of my room. And then, okay, now I got to do what I got to do. And I'll tell you what,
Mhm.
there's a couple days when I do that, I fall back into that.
Yeah.
And it's like, I miss that little ritual. And for me, I do some Qigong in the morning. So I
Mm.
spend about 15 minutes, and I've got a nice space on the main level right off the kitchen where I can kind of turn on the TV low. The TV was my babysitter when I grew up. And so having the TV on in the background is it's just another presence for me. It's just kind of like white noise. And I
Yeah.
like to have that on and just do my qigong, and then I do my what is it called? My physical therapy for my knees, and then I
Mhm.
do a little bit of tapping to just
Mm.
say I've got a new intention lately, and it's like I'm happy, I feel great, and money flows easily to me.
Oh,
And
I love.
I tap that in as part of that whole little ritual, and I just feel it wakes my body up. It sets me on a good path for the day. And
Mhm.
I notice when I miss it. It's like, oh gosh, I didn't do that this morning, did I? You feel it.
Well,
Do you
yeah,
have
and it makes
rituals?
your whole day feel a little bit different. I am not in a very good ritual mode right now. One of the things that I remind myself of my rituals is if I wake up, the first minute I wake up, if I say thank you for my
Mm,
pillow, then I remember, okay, I'm waking up. I love the feel of my pillow. I love the feel of my bed. I love the feeling of waking up, which most of the time I don't. I'd rather just sleep. But that's a different podcast, right? But yeah, I wake up, if I can say thank you for my pillow, that will send me on a path of, okay,
mm,
maybe
mm-hmm,
I should do some stretching, or maybe I should do a lot
mm-hmm.
of the things that set you up for a really good day.
Let me ask you this, because it never dawned on me until just recently. Somebody said something to me. When I go to sleep at night, I am so at peace. I'm so ready to go to sleep. But when I wake up in the morning, then the anxiety starts. This is happening. And
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody, and they were like, really? I am the opposite. They go to sleep filled with tons of anxiety. It's hard to go to sleep. They're just thinking about the day, thinking about what's happening tomorrow. But in the morning, they wake up ready to go.
Mhm.
Which one are you? Or are you something different? You don't
I
care.
I'm a no, I care. I really care. I struggle and I deal with a lot of anxiety issues, and so depending on the day, it can depend on the day, it can depend on, a conversation I had with my husband, it can depend on so many
Mm,
different things. Like, I can be just going along and having a really good day. I have a panic attack, and then that usually takes me out for about 5 hours, and then I have to rest and just be
mm,
in bed, either scrolling or watching a movie or something. I'm
mhm,
completely done for the day. And on those days, I can usually go right to sleep if I've been kind of resting. But if
mm.
something is leaving me triggered, it takes me hours and hours and hours to fall asleep. So I'm
Jeez.
usually trying to manage anxiety before I go to sleep. And then when I wake up, the issue with me is not looking at my phone. If I look at my phone to see
Mm,
what time it is, to see how many more minutes I have on the snooze bar when I hit the snooze, right?
mhm,
Then I'll go, "Oh, I wonder who emailed me." And
mhm,
it's the minute I look at my email, it's over.
mhm,
But again, if I can just roll over and not look at my phone and say, "Oh, thank you for this pillow," then it gets me in a better mindset, and I
mhm.
leave my phone on the nightstand for a minute while I do a morning ritual.
Yeah. You know who's good at rituals? My daughter with their baby.
Oh,
It
really?
takes a lot to get used to, but like you need to create those rituals to
Mhm.
kind of cue the baby's nervous system and body to say, this is okay, we're going down now. we got to start unwinding, and she feeds her, and then she gives her a full body massage with lotions, and gets her in her little weighted sleep sack and everything. So yeah, I think maybe we need to get you a weighted sleep sack.
I was thinking about that. I've been seeing all of these weighted blankets on
Hmm.
Amazon and TikTok, and that might be something really, really good to do because I noticed that when I every week when I strip my bed and wash the sheets and I put it all back together, I sleep the best the first night of the clean sheets because everything's tucked in. So I might
Oh.
consider that. That's a good idea.
Mm.
That's a really good idea. Now, I've got a question for you. Do you think that one of the reasons why I struggle with rituals is because I have low metal in my chart, or would that translate into earth?
Mm. That's a great question because we're both low metal, and metal is
Hmm.
about structure and staying
Yeah,
focused and following through.
yeah,
It could be. It could very well be because it takes a discipline,
it does.
it's and that's part of why I do the qigong in the morning, because I have to discipline myself. I really have to, like, no, this you're gonna feel better after it. Just
Yeah.
like you went for a walk a
Mhm.
couple of days ago, and it's like you knew you had,
Oh,
or you had to do that yesterday, I guess it was.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it could be the low metal. I think you're right. Because metal is also on the feng shui compass. Yang metal sits in the northwest sector, which is about a spiritual practice.
Yeah, it is.
I think
And
you're right.
my office in my home is in the Northwest, which is
Oh,
also where the dog
yes.
sits. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
Lucky for you. Me,
Yeah.
it's my son. At
Yeah.
least he's in
Yeah.
a good sector with his pig
That's right.
living there. That's
That's
great.
right.
Do you have so? But let's do talk about some rituals though that have to do with special times, special moments when they
Yeah.
happen. Like
Yes.
like the moon. We're
The
recording today.
moon.
It's a frickin' full frickin'
Yep.
kill your
We're
husband moon.
we're 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 filming during the full moon in Scorpio, and so you might see this after that. Obviously, you will see this after that. But yeah, Scorpio is the sign of intensity, and it's been an intense moon. So
Mhm.
regardless of what sign the moon is in, I recommend full moon ritual or a new moon ritual, whatever ritual is
Mhm.
coming up. Usually a good time to like avoid rituals is during eclipse season. If either of
Mhm.
the new or full moon are during the eclipse season, the ritual is the eclipse. The
Yes.
universe is going to take care of any of your heart's content, any of your positive intentions automatically. So
Mm.
you just sit back and wait for things to happen.
Mm.
But full
Mhm.
moons are a good time. I know a lot of witchy people or witches in general that like to do moon water. I know that you've done that a couple of
Mhm.
times, right?
Yeah, I'll just put glass containers out in the moonlight and let the
Mhm.
moon infuse into the water, and then I'll have one container for me, and I'll water the plants or give some water to the pets with that
Yeah,
water. Not new moon, but full moon.
full moon. Yeah.
Yeah, because the rituals are a little bit different, right?
Yeah,
So,
they
so
are.
talk about the difference of why, what you would do during a full moon, and then let's talk about the new moon.
Okay, so full moon, definitely moon water because the moon
Hmm.
is full. It's out, it's visible. It gives off light. Whereas the new moon, it's a dark moon. There's no moon in the sky, right?
Hmm.
It's completely dark, or there's just a little tiny slit. But with full moon, I recommend any kind of releasing ritual that you can do.
Hmm.
We have a friend named Autumn, and she has a labyrinth in her backyard. And during the moon cycles, or during the full moon, she walks the labyrinth, and she has a fire at the center. And she just writes down all of the things that she wants to release, and she throws them into the fire. And I
Mm.
think that is such a beautiful ritual because not only is it intentional, but it's one of those things where you have to walk this path to get to the fire. So
Mm-hmm.
while you're walking that path, you're thinking about the intentions. You're thinking what's on your piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have a labyrinth, which I don't, neither do you, and if you don't have a fire pit in your backyard, it's as simple as going to your desk, writing down a list of all of the garbage that's just been in your head that you're so sick of, and
Mm-hmm.
then just write it down and then intentionally burn it.
Mm-hmm.
Go out in your backyard or out in the middle of the street and burn it and allow the moon. And I like to watch the moon as it's burning. I like to imagine that the
Mm.
moon is taking that energy away from me so that I'm not
Mm.
stewing on it. I'm not thinking about it so much.
I love that. Um, so using so to me the moon means kind of watery energy, but what you're saying is when it's full and it's bright, it's a good time to use fire to transmute and change things.
Absolutely. Well, and depending on, and I've always liked to look at people's chart to see what element is pretty high. I
Mm,
like fire because I have a lot of fire in both my Eastern and Western astrology
mm,
charts. But if someone's really heavy earth, why not take that list and rip it into a million pieces and then go up into the mountains and bury it somewhere?
mm-hmm. Yeah,
If you've got high water or you relate to water, go up in the mountains and get the kind of paper that disintegrates in water.
yeah,
It
that
kind
rice
of
paper.
that rice paper, write
Mm-hmm.
those things down and watch it go down the river. You can do it. You can work with any of the elements.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends on what one you feel the best about. But full moon is about release. So whatever element helps you feel that release. Having a
Mm-hmm.
good cry, if you're into the water,
Mm-hmm.
that's a
Mm-hmm.
huge way to release during a
Yeah,
full
I love that. Yeah, cry. I also use that energy to cleanse. And that, I guess that's another way to release. So if
moon. Yeah.
sometimes I'll put my wedding ring, I'll just set it in a windowsill inside in the
Mhm.
moonlight, or stones or jewelry, things that you want cleared out. The
Yeah.
full moon is really good at that. But I
So
personally, for me, when I put stuff out to clear, I'll do it a full 24 hours. So it's getting the
yeah.
moon and the sun.
And the sun. And
Hmm.
that's what I was just gonna say for all of you crystal girlies out there, putting your crystals in outside or, in a window seal where it can see. That's I've got all of my crystals in a pile. I'm gonna put them out tonight and let the full moon kind of allow some cleansing.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. What
it's a
about new
really
moon?
new moon.
What's different?
New
Because
moon
that's
is
about
about
new
new
beginnings.
energy, brand new chapter, clean slate. What do you want to manifest? Getting out your list of your intentions. What I like to do during a new moon is I like to write down all of the things that I want to accomplish pertaining to that sign. And also, what I love to do is look at which house the moon is lighting up in my natal astrology chart so that I can write down those intentions pertaining to the house and the sign. And I like to fold it up and put it under my pillow or put it under my bed until the full
Mm.
moon. And then on the full moon, I burn it.
Oh, wow. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah. So you're getting the intentions, you're placing those intentions, you're taking them out of your mind onto the paper, you're placing them, on your
Hmm.
end table, your night table, or putting it under your pillow, something like that to get all of that energy into that piece of paper and then you release it during the full moon.
Yeah, just complete infusion. Because
Yeah.
that period between the new moon and the full moon is waxing. The moon is building and great building,
Yeah.
showing greater in the sky. Oh,
Mhm.
that's such a cool idea to make it not just this moment, I'm going to do this, but just to really allow it to settle and take its course.
Yeah.
Because sometimes that full moon energy can be intense. And if we're trying to just come up with, what am I going to release right now? Because I'm just screaming mad,
Mhm.
it's sometimes we're missing some things. So here's what you can do though. When you're sitting and releasing, oftentimes I'll say with a prayer of releasing is, in anything that I'm not thinking of at this moment,
Yeah.
there might be something else that's really needing to be released and I'm allowing it to go.
I love that.
Yeah, just to sometimes I always think I'm forgetting something. So
You might be, you've got low metal. And you've got a dragon in your chart, and dragons forget lots of things.
Yeah, they do.
I want a dragon in my chart in my next life. I've already
Mm.
thought about it because I remember everything and I would love to just forget about it.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to forget about it, but I remember. I've got a
Yeah.
really, really good memory.
Well, that's a good thing. But like you said, it can also bring all that anxiety and everything with it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of wood in a chart too is forgetful, not just
Was
dragon.
it?
Hmm.
Oh, well, my husband has 40% wood in his chart and he forgets everything, so makes perfect sense.
Are we going to do a podcast day and have our husbands come in?
Oh my gosh, that would we should just analyze their charts for everyone to see. That would be awesome.
We'll have to get their permission.
I
We'll
know,
have to show
right?
proof of written permission.
My husband will give more permission for the chart. He just doesn't want to be on camera. He
Mm.
doesn't like
Oh, but you know
pictures.
my husband, he does.
He does. He'll be fine with it. He's like,
Yeah.
"Why do you want to talk about my chart?" Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're opposites that way. What are some feng shui rituals that you like to do?
Well, one is place the cure cards.
I love
You
that
know,
ritual.
the annual and the monthly cure cards, and those are little energetically, symbolically cures or energy to support the flying stars, the nine
Yeah.
stars. Some of the stars are rough stars, some of them are beneficial, and so it's just placing those in your home where they go at the beginning of the year. Just kind of is like saying, okay, I'm honoring this new energy. I'm touching base with each sector. I'm paying attention to what I'm seeing, what needs, maybe something's broken, maybe something needs cleaning or picking up,
Mhm.
and just really honoring because we don't, like, I don't go into the Northwest sector because that's where my son's room is.
Yeah.
So I don't get to visit that space. So whenever you can kind of honor the space and bless it with a gift, which is
Mhm.
those cards, I love that at at the beginning of the year. And then there's also the monthly stars to pass those little cards around and to walk in that specific flying star pattern through your home is a
Mhm.
ritual within itself. So that I really like doing. Of course, I like new home rituals, like when you move into a space. Were you going
Yeah.
to add to the flying star stuff?
I was. I just wanted to make sure that for all of you that are watching, the cards that she's talking about are a kit that she created and she sells on her Etsy page. And
Hmm.
they're annual cards that you put in each of the sectors of your home. And there's annual cards that go in each sector that you leave there all year. And then there's smaller monthly cards that you put
Hmm.
in each of those places every month. So again, it becomes kind of a monthly ritual and a yearly ritual. And we'll leave the link to her Etsy page down
Mm.
below.
Thanks for that. Yeah, I forgot about the Etsy site. It's a kind of kit that anybody can use, whether you're a
Yeah.
seasoned pro or a
Yeah.
newbie. It's really easy. It's kind of an educational thing. It's going to kind of let you know what the energies are going on. There's a booklet that comes with it and some protection cards.
Yeah.
So
In
thanks.
every consultation I do, that's one of my requirements. I just say, previous to us meeting, go to this Etsy page, purchase these cards, and then we can go through them during our consultation.
Oh, that's a great idea.
It's a
And
great
then,
idea. And do you know what? That
yeah.
is usually the hit of every feng shui consultation that I do is these cards. And every year people will be like, has she released next year's cards yet? Has she released next? And I'm like, she doesn't release the cards until the New Year's event. So
Yeah.
people are, I, in December, all of the text messages come in. Do you know when the cards are available yet? Do you know every year? So people love them. So
Oh,
run
thank you
to the
for that.
Etsy shop and get these cards. They're a great ritual.
Yeah, there's some other things there too, but thank you. That's cool. And I should be doing that with my own clients. I don't think of it like that. So what about you? What feng shui rituals do you like?
I was just going to say that, but the other one that I love to do is taking, and I should have pulled one out, but a red envelope, putting a
Mm.
red envelope above your front door with a $100 bill in it. Oh, she's got one right there on her desk.
Oh, I've got
Any
several.
Any red envelope, I like to use the ones that has the animal for the year, like
Mm,
for the dragon,
mhm,
for 2024. And you put a $100 bill in it, and then during Chinese New Year, what I do is I take that $100 bill out and I go spend it. And I don't spend it on bills. I don't
mhm.
spend it on taxes. I don't spend it on anything. I go out to dinner with my husband. We'll go get ice cream. We go do something fun. I think that's a ritual that we love to do because
Mhm.
he'll be like, because he puts one above his office door, I put one above my office door, and we put one above the front door. So that usually leaves us with, depending on if we use $50 bills or $100 for that year, but
Mhm.
that'll leave us with $300 at the beginning of February to go out to a really fun date night.
That's such a fun idea to do it that way. Yeah, so the red envelope is such a great little thing. I mean, it's just such a fun little thing that you can work with. And people use it for different reasons. I keep a red envelope in my wallet to hold cash in. Red is
Mm,
the color of celebration, it's the color of protection,
mm,
just kind of an honoring color. It's a safe color. And yeah, I have one above my office door, I have one above the front door.
yeah.
Doug's got one at
Mhm.
work, and you can put any amount of money you want in it.
Yeah.
Sometimes people will put increments of two. So instead of $100 bill, it might be two fifties or two tens or two ones. You
Yeah.
can also write an intention or a goal,
Hmm.
and slip that in there as well.
Yeah.
And place that up there with like an intention, like, oh, this is money luck, this is, going to bring me new business, whatever it is, and then let it go. Just
Yeah.
don't, like, you don't need to go kneel to it every day. You don't need to go check to make sure your money's still there. You don't need
Yeah.
to go, why isn't this money coming in? Because
Hmm.
it's really interesting. I have a lot of stories that I could be telling, which would probably take up a whole podcast, of how the money manifests.
Yeah.
But I want to give you one disclaimer. When you place the red envelope with money in it or a goal, end your prayer with harm to none.
Mm.
With harm to none. Because you don't want to have this goal of, oh, I'd love to have $10,000. And guess what? You get in a car wreck and there's your settlement money
Yeah.
that's paying the
It's someone
$10,000.
else's expense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
So
also
just,
want to add,
mhm.
make sure you put it on the inside. I had a client that put it on the outside and it was stolen the next day because I didn't clarify. Put it on the inside of your door. Even same thing with your office. When you're sitting at your desk, you want to be able to look and see that red envelope.
Hmm. Yeah,
So,
that's a great tip. I do. I get people say, well, does it go on the inside or the outside?
it's
Yeah, it's true.
inside.
Yeah, especially if you're throwing anything in there, even if it's just your dream, you don't want your dream
Yeah.
stolen.
Mm-mm.
So that's a great tip. Yeah, that's a good ritual. I don't think of that. See, those are kinds of things I don't think of as rituals. But now that
Oh,
you say that,
yeah.
it's like, oh, now this is leveling up. Now I'm doing
Yeah.
something intentional and special.
And that's kind of what I try to do when during Chinese New Year, when I'm taking down the money envelope and going out and, getting a nice dinner or something with my husband. But I like to put on my favorite music. I like to smudge the whole house. I like to cleanse the whole house. I take down all of I put my cure cards in. They're about the size of a postcard, and I
Hmm.
just put them. I got these little white frames from IKEA that I put all over the house.
Hmm. Me too.
And I'll put on my favorite music. I'll gather all of the frames together and just take the frames and move the frames all throughout the house so that
Hmm.
I'm not replacing the picture. So yeah, I do that, and when I'm intentionally doing it, I feel like I'm really setting up my home for success. I'm setting up the home for
Hmm.
protection. I'm
Hmm.
placing my sigils. I'm placing my red envelope above the door. And I also like to have the red envelope above the door because it's the red is the color of protection. So
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
feel like doing those things intentionally once a year and then once a month with the the smaller cards is I love to do those things.
Mhm. And you said something I think I'm realizing is important is know why you're doing something. Like,
Hmm.
why are you putting the red envelope up there? Or why are
Yeah,
you putting these stones out here? Don't just do things because that's what somebody said or that's what you heard
yeah.
or somebody recommends it. Like, why would you, like, because that's part of the ritual, that's part of the
Hmm.
intention is why. What are you wanting? What's the outcome?
Yeah.
Why are you feeling the need to do this? I think that's incredibly important. I think we kind of are bumping around like sheep sometimes and just, doing what we're told to do because it's the law or it's because it's what's going to pay the bills this month. And we are not putting enough why or purpose or meaning into even the mundane or even these
Mhm.
special little magical mystical moments.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Well said. Well
Hmm.
said, because I think right now, especially, we're very distracted with or trying to distract ourselves with different things that really don't matter. So rituals really kind of ground us into what is important or what we view as important and what we
Hmm.
need to be doing for ourselves and
Yeah,
also for the people that we love.
yeah. And I think what I've picked up from this conversation is they're just small little things. It's
Yeah.
not something you have to like go to the store and buy food for and send out invitations and plan weeks ahead of time. It can just be
Mm-mm.
a spur of the moment and even see opening your front door and taking a broom and sweeping the front porch is a ritual.
Yeah. Yeah.
Washing the windows can be a ritual. Taking the garbage out can be a ritual.
Yeah.
Flushing the freaking toilet can be a
It's a
ritual.
ritual. One that I hope everyone does.
Yes, please.
Please. Please do that.
When I met,
Don't text on the phone. Don't text on the phone while you're driving and flush the fucking toilet. God, for real. It's like that's so dumb, but it's true. There's some people that don't.
yeah,
So, they're
yeah.
probably the ones that are texting and sending pictures on the freeway while they're trying to drive. Oh my god. Oh my god. Let's pull a card before we end.
Let's do. Make sure you check below your links and share with us what's a little ritual that you do that you
Yes.
would love. Like maybe we could just make a whole community that these are the rituals that, this is the ritual we're doing. But I'm curious. I want to learn more about rituals. Here's the thing though. I love to be a part of ritual and a part of ceremony when somebody else is guiding it. I can
Oh,
just sit
interesting.
and I just am in awe. I could sit through a 4-hour Catholic wedding. I
Uh-huh.
love to sit in a sweat lodge. I love all of the ceremony that comes with these different old ways of doing things. I'm just taken aback, but I just want to witness it. I don't want to partake in it. I just want to observe it and learn from it.
And you don't wanna facilitate it as
No,
well?
mm-mm.
Oh,
I don't want to create
which
it.
is
I
which is
just,
kind of funny because she's really good at facilitating ritual. Really good at it, and the rest of us are like, "Oh my god, that's amazing." Which is so interesting. The card is follow the leader, and this card is about being a leader in your own life, and it's
mm,
about being, taking the lead. A lot of times when I pulled this card during a reading, it's usually because the person is wanting to know which way to go, which direction to
mm,
follow. So it can be the person taking personal leadership in their own life,
mm-hmm.
or following someone and following someone's intuition that you trust.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a feng shui consultant or an astrologer or a psychic that you see on a yearly or monthly basis and you listen to their words as a guide.
Mm,
Following those things and impulses rather than following anxious thoughts, following, debilitating thoughts that kind of come into our minds as goblins, kind of pulling us down.
mm,
Following the leader, following your intuition, following whatever deity you worship, if that's what you choose to do, following that, because as you follow the path, it's leading to this big, beautiful tree of life and
mm-hmm.
it's leading to the light. So as we do that,
Mm.
that's going to take us to better places.
Absolutely. Sometimes we just don't trust ourselves, do we?
No,
Maybe
we
that would
don't.
be a great topic we can take note of is like how to trust, lean in and trust your intuition more. I get that question a lot.
Yeah, because there's a huge thing going on online right now. What's the difference between anxiety and intuition?
Ooh,
And that's a
maybe.
really good question as someone who really is challenged by
Hmm.
anxiety.
Yeah.
So that's a really
Ooh.
good topic. Maybe we'll cover
Okay.
that.
So share with us your rituals and check out the links before, take a minute and click on one or click on all of them. We appreciate you being here.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Jeremy, my friend. Have a
Thank you. We'll see
wonderful,
you next time.
lovely day. And that's it. Bye.
Okay. We'll see you later.